The effect of acute stress on short-term memory test performance. My name is Melody Ngao and my teacher is Marivic Mitchell. Statement of the problem. 3 acute stress tests were given to 30 participants and they lasted for 15 minutes in total. The acute stress was expected to impair the subject's short-term memory. This was tested by asking subjects to recall words from a list. The hoped accomplishment was that the acute stress would impair the majority of the participants' short-term memory, similar to blanking out. Rationale. Background information. Memory is the ability to take in information, store it, and retrieve it later. Stress is the reaction to mental or physical changes that need adjustments. During stress, the autonomic nervous system releases adrenaline, creating symptoms of stress. When stress continues, the adrenal gland releases cortisol in the hippocampus, which can impair memory. In this experiment, the independent variable is the presence of stress, dependent variable is the number of words recalled on the short-term memory test, and the control is the non-stress portion of the experiment. Importance of research and how it is applicable. The results of the experiment can be used to learn more about the stress in the brain's memory. This research is useful to scientists and psychologists. If others repeat the experiment, the brain's hippocampus, adrenal glands, and cortisol will be understood. Societal impact. If some brain diseases might eventually be cured. It teaches everyone that a little stress can help, but too much stress can impede performance. Hypothesis. If a person was under acute stress, then his or her short-term memory test performance would decrease. Procedures. 30 consented participants, ages 8 to 55, were given 2 short-term memory tests. List A without stress and List B with acute stress. The 2 20-word lists had similar words to ensure the same difficulty level. The subject was taken into a quiet room and was given 2 minutes to memorize the 20 words on List A. The list was taken away and the subject had 3 minutes to write the words they remembered. The same subject then underwent the stress portion of the experiment. They were given 3 5-minute stress-inducing tests. The first test was the sing-a-song stress test, and the subject repeatedly sang the Star-Spangled Banner in front of a camera. The second test was the Stroop color and word test, where a table of names of colors written in a different color font was shown to the subject. The subject had to say the color that the word was written in, and if the subject messed up, they restarted. The third test was the arithmetic section of the trier-social stress test. The subject performed a 0-7 subtraction allowed from 1025. The subject restarted if they said the wrong number. After 15 minutes of stress test, List B was given to the subject. They again had 2 minutes to memorize the 20 words and 3 minutes to recall the words. The number of words recalled correctly was recorded for the control and experimental conditions. Results and display of data. Each participant was their own control because they memorized the list before and after the stress test. 13 out of 30 subjects, or 43%, recalled fewer words after the 3 stress tests. 2 subjects, or 7%, recalled the same amount. 15 subjects, or 50%, recalled more words. The mean and median of the 30 trials of the control group, which was the portion without stress, was 11 words. The mean and median for the acute stress or experimental group was 11.5 words. The standard deviation, which was used to determine how close the data was to the mean, was 3.84 for both the control and experimental groups. This is the data for the table. This is a graph of the difference in the number of words recalled from the stressed state in comparison to the unstressed state. The left side shows the people who recalled fewer words after the stress tests. The right side shows the people who recalled more words, and numbers 14 and 15 recalled the same amount. This is the graph for the mean and median of data. The darker gray stands for the number of words memorized with no stress, or the control. Lighter gray is number of words memorized with acute stress. The 2 columns are close together. Data analysis. A paired t-test was used to analyze the data to determine if there was a significant difference in the number of words memorized between the experimental and the control groups. Based on the data, the t-value was 0.92. A t-value of 2.045 was needed to claim significance. There was clearly no significant difference between the words recalled with acute stress and without stress, since the t-value of 0.92 was very low. Conclusions. This experiment involved testing 30 participants' short-term memory performance before and after 3 5-minute stress tests. The mean score for the control group was 11 words and the experimental group was 11.5 words. The hypothesis that after the participant was induced with stress, then their short-term memory performance would decrease was not supported. It was found that the stress level did not change the subject's short-term memory. This might be due to the fact that a little stress can improve memory because attention increases. 15 minutes of stress tests were not long enough. An experiment at Seton Hall University showed memory impairment after a few hours of stress tests. In this experiment, the cortisol may have not lasted long enough to impair memory. To improve this experiment, having a larger group of subjects could show differences between the group statistics. Having subjects that are not familiar with the experimenter may help. Lastly, participants with diverse academic strengths would be helpful because most subjects had a good academic background and knew how to handle stress.